body and bound. Now that I'm out, I'm rubbing the scene. Souped up the team and we looking kind of clean. People kind of like us because we ain't that mean.
A little bit of E40.
Because we do
a little bit of cross.
No drama tonight. No haters in sight, so everything is alright. And this is how we do it in the 831. When the time hits, we all act dumb.
And that's a little from Eric McGinney. And Eric, nice job, man.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Bill, you kind of like listening to it. Like,
okay.
Are you like Anthony Fantano now, Bill?
Nice.
All right.
Good job, Eric.
You know, my friends keep telling me to put my music out there, and they're like, you're letting it sit there and you're not pushing it. They're like, you gotta push it. So
Eric, we got it. We're gonna start it right now. That's the opening for our first group NFL mock draft.
There you go.
Quite a while.
There you go.
That means that we're getting back to normal. And
thank you, Zennie. Thank you, Zennie.
You're very welcome. I'm dedicating this to Mason Riggs, who cannot join us because he is working. And Mason brought to us StreamYard. Realize that? Mason was the one who brought StreamYard to us. And we are using, for our player guide, the one created by none other than our Zennie62Media NFL draft expert, this man. Raise your hand, Bill. That's the man, Bill Carroll, the man, the myth, the legend, right here. And
next year, I'm thinking about actually trying to. Oh, I was going to say next year I'm thinking about trying to actually do a full-on guide. The problem is the market is flooded. I used to do draft guides back, as you know, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, before every 14-year-old in America had a draft guide. But I might try to get back in the game mostly for fun, because there's not really any money to be made for it anymore unless you're a big name or associated with a big name entity.
And we're joined by future NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame president Vinny Lospinoso.
Yes.
Hey.
All right, we got the family back. Nice.
Yeah. Yes,
all
indeed.
Right,
we're all back. The bank.
Yes.
We are all back. And so, in honor of our all being together, we will go.
We miss Joseph, though. We miss Joseph.
Yeah, we need him.
Join us. I got a text from the person who was operating his phone. He is eye procedure, and says he had eye procedure, so he's not able to use his phone at the moment. So
got it. Yeah,
that's what's going on. So this is for Joseph as well.
Pray for him.
Vinny, you want to do the honors and start it off first for us? Do you need the draft order, or
like in terms of like me starting off with the Jaguars?
Yeah, you'd start off with the Jaguars. We're going to go in reverse clockwise.
Counterclockwise.
Thank you.
Okay.
That too. That works. So basically, will be Vinny from Vinny. And Vinny is stroking his beard. Raise your hand, Vinny. Vinny. Thank you, sir. And then we'll go,
pondering my choice, just like that.
Eric, you're number 2. So you'll have Eric. You'll represent the Lions. Okay. All right. I'm number 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the great one, Mr. Carroll's number 4. And then start number 5. We'll go back to Vinny, and we'll do it all over again. For the first round, welcome to Zennie62Media's group NFL draft. Take it away, Mr. Lospinoso. And if anybody needs help regarding what the order is, it looks like this. There.
There you go.
Zennie, would you mind marking each one with parentheses, discussing whether it's indicating which one is one of our picks?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So I will say this is the Vinny. How about that?
Sounds good.
Okay. And then Eric, like that. And then
that works.
Okay. And then like that. And then Bill, like that. And then we'll start with Vinny again. All right. Okay. And we'll just keep going. You get the idea. And so on, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And yeah. Okay. All right. And oh my God, I think I know what Bill's going to do at the Falcons at number 8. That's dangerous. Bill's a dangerous man. He's grinning from ear to ear. Okay, Vinny, you're on the clock.
Now we all know how the Jaguars were last season. Just complete train wreck. No matter how you slice it, Trevor Lawrence did the best he possibly could, but the whole team was not very well from top to bottom. There were some good parts, like James Robinson, but unfortunately, you had the crutch, which was everything involving Urban Meyer. Like, that's all I need to say. And if you know about the news that he didn't even know who Aaron Donald was, that's all you need to know about his tenure. Very, very short 13-game tenure with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, enough beating around the bush. The fact of the matter is the Jaguars, the number one pick, had the number one pick for a reason. They were the worst team in the league last year. And usually when you're the number one team in terms of the draft order, you usually go best player available. And the Jaguars are a team that's really been in need of a pass rush. They are a team that could really use better up front on the edges. And I might as well go with the best player here in Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan, especially as I think they're going to want to build a 4-3 defense, and I think he'd be perfect for that.
There we go. Aiden Hutchinson there. He's plugged in. We go to Eric at number 2. Eric has the Detroit Lions. Eric, you're on the clock.
Oh boy. Okay. We all know how the Detroit Lions have been as a franchise. They haven't had a winning season since Calvin Johnson. They got Jared Goff there now. They got bad ownership. Where do I go? But it's Detroit. So I feel sorry for the fans there. But I mean, they got Jared Goff. So I say, of course, they need to get a receiver. He needs somebody to throw the ball to, which I can't name any of the receivers right now that they have actually on their roster for the Lions. I haven't honestly looked at their roster, but I think they need to get Jared Goff a weapon. And I would say that's why I brought up Danny Gray's name, because the Lions might get a receiver at number 2. Because, like I said, Jared Goff needs somebody to throw the ball to. So I go receiver in the first round for the Lions.
Who's your name? Who you got? Eric.
Oh, I'm going to say they might even take Danny Gray.
Denny Gray from?
They might try to get Danny Gray.
Denny Gray from what college?
Southern Methodist
SMU.
University, by way of the University of Tennessee. Transfer from
SMU.
Tennessee to Southern Methodist.
SMU.
And it's Gray.
Yep. Correct.
Denny Gray.
And it's Danny.
Yeah, Gray. That's right.
Danny is the
Thank
first
you.
name.
Got it. Danny Gray, SMU, Michigan. All right. Thank you. Houston Texans. All right. Now I'm going with the board that was created by none other than Bill Carroll. So far, we have Kalen Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, who was taken already number 1 by Vinny to send him to Jacksonville. I think Thibodeau is better, and I think that the Texans would not let this guy pass. No. So that's exactly Mr. Thibodeau is going to play for Lovie Smith and wreak havoc in the National
Lovie Smith would love that.
Oh, Thibodeau.
Oh, that's such a good pairing. That is such a good pairing.
It really is. Oh, Lovie Smith would basically thought, okay, we've won the draft at this point.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
Big steal.
Yeah. There's a school of thought. I think it was Bucky Brooks that had the Detroit Lions taking Malik Willis at number 2. What do you think about that, Bill?
Yeah, well, the number 2 pick has lately become like a favorite spot for people to quote unquote shake it up, to spice up their mock drafts. So such names as Trayvon Walker's found his way there recently. Some people have had a quarterback, usually Willis, but even a few people have tossed Pickett or somebody up there. It's boredom at this point. People are just bored. They're just playing around with their box at this point, just doing fun, what they think is fun stuff, I guess.
And so we come to Bill at the New York Jets. So what say you, Bill?
Well, I say huzzah. I am very excited about how this is shaking out. And maybe Mekhi Becton gets it turned around. And if so, he can play right tackle. But we now have our left tackle. Ikem Ekwonu is a right out of the box start day one. I think he's going to play at a Pro Bowl level and eventually at an all-pro level at the left tackle position.
Mekhi Becton, that's your choice. You reached all the way down in your own list, man.
No. Mekhi Becton is the guy we drafted last year who hasn't worked out. That's the point. That's why I'm drafting another tackle.
Okay, you're really shaking it up.
That's not really.
That's
he's
right.
My fourth player.
Yeah.
I think I had Ekwonu number 4.
Actually, no. You had him at.
8.
You
No, I had
had
him
4.
7. I guess it's really 7 because the first spot is.
Guys, just so you know, Eric said his phone died.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh well, he'll charge up. He'll be back. So
he'll be back.
I'll figure it out. Anyway, you had at number 8. You had Ikem Ekwonu.
Yes, Ikem Ekwonu. And he's
Yeah,
really number 7 because the first spot is just like position or whatever. So it's really the 7th player. It's just eighth position, but the 7th player because the first position is telling you, what the heading is. And it's Ikem. Ikem. His first name starts with I. Ikem. Ikem.
Ikem. Huh?
You should be able to just cut and paste, probably. But and then
my problem is though, is that I keep calling him Ekwonu. That's now you said Beckham.
It is. It's Ikem Ekwonu. That's his name.
I thought you were saying Beckham.
You're getting confused.
Ikem is his first name. His last
you're
name
getting confused with Mekhi Becton.
I was giving you credit for naming somebody I didn't know about. Sorry about that.
I was giving the rationale for the pick. The struggles of Mekhi Becton, who we drafted in the first last year, are why we were back picking another offensive tackle here. That was what I said.
I get you, yeah. And,
so those who didn't know about the struggles of Mekhi Becton last year, I would urge you to put on, any football game that the Jets played last year.
Have him blocking.
He
the road grader. You don't have him doing what they're asking him to do. I thought that was awful. Just
and the last name is In.
Yeah, Ian.
No, Ian. No, the last name is it's In. It's in. No, sorry, it is. Sorry, you're right. EK. Sorry, EKW.
I can read.
No, you're right. You can read. I'm going to give you credit. It is EKW.
I checked. There we go.
Good news, everyone. The head of the company is able to read.
Thank God.
He is fully literate and a graduate of Cal. Usually those things are almost always found together. So yes, both a graduate of Cal and fully literate.
On top of that, I got my master's degree there, and I got my undergraduate at Texas Arlington.
Oh, that's right. Yes, beautiful. UTSA.
Thanks. So anyway, all right. Now we come to the New York Giants and the capable Vinny. What say you, Vinny?
What's a good way to describe the Giants? Offensive line is atrocious.
Are we allowed to use GIFs?
Yes, you can use GIFs. You can use memes.
There's a very famous GIF of a dumpster on fire.
That's a good one. There's also a meme of There's also the meme of a turnstile kind of a door. I like to use that turnstile of a door as the New York Giants offensive line. The person that comes in through that door is the person charging through. And the person at the front desk immediately, without any line in front of them, is Daniel Jones. who gets rung up again and again and again with no one stopping that person going through the turnstile doors. Nope. And, with Nate Solder gone, he's been, he was a disappointment of a signing for them. Andrew Thomas has, let's just say his ups and downs. Will Hernandez is not with the team now. I mean, he was a disappointment as well. So bottom line is the New York Giants in the first round need to get at least one offensive tackle. If they do not get an offensive tackle within the first round, then everyone from the media to the fans to probably even players are going to be very, very mad at them, and especially considering this is Daniel Jones's final year on his contract. So,
and if they don't help him out, the final year of his life, perhaps.
Maybe, perhaps, there could be a very decent possibility of that. But, why do we have to wait for that to be inevitability, and why not prolong or increase his lifespan a little bit? Yeah. And I say there's no better way. There is just no better way as an organization. You see Evan Neal. He's a nice 6'7", 350 pound young man coming out of Crimson Tide, Alabama. He can handle left tackle well. He can handle right tackle well. Hey, if you need him at guard, you could throw him there too. He can do anything for you. And I say, he could be a nice right tackle spot for you. And yeah, I don't see this is such a no-brainer decision. Evan Neal to the Giants, absolutely.
Evan Neal, good choice, Vinny. Now we come to what would have been Eric, but since it's not Eric, it's going to be me. Carolina Panthers. And I'm going on Bill Carroll's big board, and I see that there is a certain player there that, you know what? I am going to say, really, Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame.
They have a playmaker in the back half of the defense for the first time in a while. I think would be the next way of putting it.
With all the receivers coming into the NFC South, I think they're going to need him,
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
I mean, this guy was, for a long time, the number one player on the board, right, Bill?
For some people. I mean, I never had him quite up that high because part of it is, positional value. There's never been a safety who's gone that high. And I heard people, throwing it around at one point, but it just felt like, once again, hey, that'd be fun to talk about. But if think of all the great safeties, if Ed Reed is going at number 17, if, Sean Taylor is going where if those guys aren't number one overall, Kyle Hamilton, who's not as good a player as a guy like Sean Taylor or Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu, shouldn't go number one overall. But he should go fairly high, yes.
My thought basically is a guy like Hamilton, he can cover sideline to sideline probably better than many of the people that have come in the past. And if my hunch is correct regarding that and his ability to blitz, I think he's going to make this position pick worth the money.
Yeah. He has the ability to be that overhang defender. He can go into the slot. He can run with tight ends. He's got size. He's not the fastest kid in the world, but he processes things quickly, so it makes up a little bit for his lack of actual running speed.
He's smart.
Yeah, highly intelligent. His podcast is amazing. If that matters.
It matters to me because I'm a Zoomer.
There you go. But if you haven't heard it, check it out. He's really good. He has his post NFL career looks like it's already advertising itself. I'll put it that way.
Oh, dang. All right. So we have the Panthers get Kyle Hamilton for me. Now that means Bill goes in my place.
Okay.
Control the Giants at number 7.
I will adjust slightly to this new piece of information. And so,
by the way, if anybody sees anybody in the queue, let me know because I have something covered over. Here's Eric. Eric is back. Yep. Eric, you're back. Cool.
Okay. So I feel like it's a fit both in terms of value, need, and etc. Ahmad Sauce Gardner helps them to fill a need. He gives great value, and you want to have at least one position of strength. Like you want to have something to build on. They could use everything, but he's something that doesn't come along all that often. He can play both man and zone at a elite level. He's a good tackler, which some people don't appreciate as much as maybe I do. But I want corners who can tackle. Just call me crazy, but you can essentially remove from the playbook certain plays, like those wide receiver screens, those now screens that teams pick up 5, 6, 7, 8 free yards on. If you can bust through blocks and make that into a 2 or 3 yard loss, they'll stop doing it.
Hey, Bill,
and Sauce Gardner shows he knows how to do that. So he can cover, in press man, he can cover in zone. I like him a lot.
When I think of corners you can cover, Bill, I think of Ronnie Lott in his rookie year.
Right. When he was a corner. Yes. People forget he was a really good corner.
He hit some wide receiver so hard and just so that he knocked him 360.
Yes.
Correct. Like that. That's what
like
I look for.
Correct. Like a pinwheel. Yes. Yes. Somersaults. Yes.
Yeah.
And people forget Ronnie Lott made
by the way, you guys,
at 4 different spots.
Yep. So now we've got
So the Colts. The Colts just got Stephon Gilmore.
Right. But they did.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the order here now. Okay, so Sauce Gardner, that was Bill. So now we go to the Seahawks. So normally that would be
the Falcons.
No, that would be we adjusted. So this is probably Eric now, I'm guessing.
Actually,
the Falcons.
If we adjusted because Eric was gone,
right?
We go in order though after you.
Sorry about that. Phone died.
Okay, no, it happens. We go in order after you, then it is Eric. You're right.
Right.
So yeah. So Eric, let me write that in because
I'm agreeing with you that I am correct. I'm agreeing with you.
That's funny.
Okay, the Falcons. Man, okay, so they lose Matt Ryan, obviously. So I think for the Falcons, they need to go quarterback. I say they go after Pickett. He's the best one right now to me, amongst the quarterbacks in this draft anyways. I'm not saying that Pickett is NFL ready right now, but I think the Falcons need to go with quarterback. You lose Matt Ryan. So if you want to make your fan base a little bit happy, which Atlanta fans are probably not happy right now with the Falcons, but I mean, go get a quarterback. You don't have a quarterback right now. I say they go after Pickett.
So you're going to take Pickett. It's number 24 here. Okay. No. It's not even. He got him way down on the board, Bill.
Yeah. Well, my issue with him is his play in bad weather games. Ironically, right, a guy who went to Pitt. But I would urge you to put on, say, the Carolina game, and of course, there's a chance to see both Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett in the same game. And Pickett is killing them in the first half, particularly. And even the first series of the third quarter, and then the weather starts to turn. It gets windy and rainy.
Eric, the Falcons fans would run you out of town with that pick.
I don't know if they'd run him out of town. I think they want a quarterback. I think they want a different kind of quarterback. A lot of people want the more mobile. So Pickett's a good athlete. He's a good athlete. He's just not the same level of athlete as Malik Willis. But my concern about Pickett was when the weather turned bad.
Hey, who's got the phone going?
What are you doing?
Eric's on the phone.
Eric, kill the phone.
So the weather turns, it gets windy and rainy, and you can see visibly Kenny Pickett's accuracy and zip on the ball decline as the weather conditions get worse. And Sam Howell, right, improves slightly as the weather gets worse. So that was a game that stood out to me because of that. When I got to see both quarterbacks in the same weather conditions.
All I'm saying is at that spot, the Falcons, you take Mr. George Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia.
I mean, you certainly could. Bad teams can use everything.
Everybody would stone you if you didn't around here. This guy, throughout the first pitch at the Braves game, this guy has been making the rounds all over town.
Sure, but you can't make picks based off that.
Okay, you come down here and say that.
Well, I mean, I'll go wherever you want. I mean, you have to get the best value. Jordan Davis is a terrific player, but he's a guy who's going to play 38 to 44, 45% of the snaps. So that has to be part of your calculation. You're getting essentially a part-time football player.
Ain't
the top 10 picks of the draft.
He is not going past the Falcons. I'm telling you.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying there'd be a mistake. So whatever. That's how you get to be a team that keeps picking in the top 10 is making picks like that.
Point of ticket sales around here.
Ticket sales is cool, but will they keep coming if you keep going 5-12?
He's the darling. I'm trying to tell you.
But
think of how much the
darling Johnny Manziel was. Like, okay? You can't make picks based off that.
You're gonna insult the man by comparing him to Johnny Manziel.
I'm saying if you're bringing up how popularity plays into it, I'm pointing out that that's not how you should make picks.
But I'm saying that Jordan Davis, is already he's the darling here. He's arguably the best defensive.
But that's true of a lot of Georgia football players. Should they have taken Herschel Walker? I mean, I don't know what we're doing here.
This draft, man. I'm talking about this. I'm telling you.
But I'm talking about in every draft, Georgia has football players. Should just draft Georgia players every year.
Dude, they're the national champions. Okay,
but they've won the national championship before. I mean, just because the team wins the national championship doesn't mean you should draft their players.
They're national champions in a state where people who never set foot in Athens make you think they went to Georgia. That's how
right. In Ohio, they do that with Ohio State. I mean, there's lots of people who do that. Subway alumni, freeway alumni, whatever term you want to use. But if you start drafting based on that, you're going to kill your team.
No, comparing Ohio football to Georgia football in terms of fervency is like comparing the destructive power of a kitchen match to that of an H-bomb.
Except that Ohio State has been better than Georgia, at least in 3 of the last 5 years. I mean, but it's not about what state is better than what state. It's about what player on the board is better than what player. Like, we can't get into
people here who will convince you the world is flat. Okay, I'm trying to tell you how logic gets bent in this part of the country.
Oh, I'm very much aware of that.
You want me to tell you my experience with people
based off that? You're going to be fired as a GM pretty quickly.
You want me to tell you my interaction with a lot of people that are from the area?
Yep.
They never liked Matt Ryan as a quarterback, not because the team never won a championship, but because they never liked him because he wasn't in the same mold as Vic.
Or Vic. He wasn't like Vic.
They liked one of their guys specifically. And, one of my friends openly said, he openly said that Ryan is probably the only quarterback that's hated because he's white. That's flat out what he told me.
I don't think it's because he's white. It's because he played that particular way he played.
No, that's not true. Matt Ryan has a gigantic following here. Matt Ryan's one problem was his payment. Okay? And payment versus wins and losses. But Matt Ryan has long been the darling. He was the person that, to a number of people down here, saved the Falcons.
Sure.
After a damaging period where, look, as Mr. Blank will tell you, Mike Vick was not honest with him. And he said that publicly on shows again and again and again. Not to put Mike Vick down, but to tell the truth, okay?
Yeah.
He did not.
To be on the outside or some other place.
He did not tell you I'm part of a criminal enterprise. No, he did not tell you that.
And live this, but to live Georgia is to experience another world, another way of thinking that fills books, that was encapsulated in Gone with the Wind. Okay, all that pours into even football. All right, it's nuts down here, man. It just is.
My thoughts of how it is just how, to be fair, I've only been down to Georgia one time, and they didn't really it wasn't really during football time. It was during baseball season. So my only interaction with how a lot of them are based on Twitter conversation, which I know it's not the best way of looking at it at all, but that's just the vibe I get. But I know it's definitely not the case.
Twitter's left wing. Twitter's got a skewed view of Georgia. Forget it.
That's true.
Well, I don't know if that's
Jordan Davis.
It's a skewed view of everywhere. You can say that about Texas or New York or whatever. It's always skewed.
Does not survive past 8. All right, the Falcons beat him.
Well, I don't. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But that's a tough sell to a team that's trying to win football games to get a guy who's going to play probably between 38 and 45% of the snaps at a position that you could certainly use, but not your greatest need. And he's not a guy who really affects the passing game that much. You're getting a great run stopper who you're hoping will develop.
I disagree with you there. That guy at the next level in a pinch defense will crush the line. You know what, Bill? You know what we should do? We should do a show on that subject alone.
We certainly should.
That would be fun talk.
It would be a great topic. I think he has potential in that area, but there's a reason they took him off the field in third down in college. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, he's got a fast motor. I get you, but the whole point is that. Well, we can. I don't want to prolong it. I'm going to move on to the next.
We have already prolonged it.
Yeah. Mainly because Eric made a mistake, but whatever. And then he got on the phone like, "Hello, how you doing? Oh, hey, baby."
I thought he was maybe getting a trade proposal for his next pick. I thought he was taking a trade proposal. Maybe somebody's trying to trade up.
I thought he went super fly on us, man. Got the music.
I think maybe New Orleans Saints have called him trying to package two of their first to move up and get one of the other quarterbacks. They're trying to get Malik Willis. I think that's what that was about.
Yeah, well, okay, so basically we got the Jets. We got Pickett.
We didn't pick the Seahawks yet.
No, we're still waiting on pick number 9.
Have my name on it, okay? I need to right the wrong of what Eric had done. It was like I'm going, oh my Lord, that was hilarious. The Jets, I believe. The New York Jets from Seattle. I got the Seahawks here. I'm sorry, but I am going to actually do something. I think it's probably going to surprise some people, but that's okay. I really believe this is the best pick though for them. It's a safe pick per se. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You have the Seahawks, or do you have the Jets?
The Greek god of pass rush win rate, right?
Yeah.
George.
Paraphrase Moneyball.
Hey guys, I call this pick a return to sanity.
I like it. Return to sanity. I like it.
Yeah. So New York Jets. This would mean that okay, we're gonna go back to Bill and then Vinny.
So this is one of those exciting times when things actually go right for the Jets. It doesn't happen often, but here's one of those moments. The Jets were praying and hoping that somehow this player would be available, and there he is. So they get a chance. I don't know about righting wrongs or making the world a better place or whatever, but the Jets, who have so many needs of so many different types, but Darryl Stingley Jr. gives them a lockdown corner.
Ooh.
And that helps every other part of your defense because you get a chance to erase essentially one half of the field in terms of pass coverage.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Keep talking, man.
Well, so things obviously most people know. Things that obviously most people know is there's circulating all over the place, all those 1-and-1s from practices between he and Jamar Chase. And he's right there in Jamar Chase's hip pocket in perfect phase for far longer than a real play would go because they're just trying to see. You're like, how long can you keep doing this? Some of these things go on 5-6 seconds, which would never happen in an actual game situation, but he's right there. And Chase can't lose it. And it tells you something. Now, he struggled with injury and inconsistency, particularly in tackling the last couple of seasons. I think, frankly, I mean, this is just my opinion. I thought he was sort of playing to not get hurt, because I saw him as a freshman blasting through blockers on those wide receiver screens I talked about earlier and making tackles and, tackles for loss even. And then I saw him not fighting through either because maybe he was protecting an injury because he did have that Liz Frank, or maybe sore shoulder that I didn't know about. Who knows? But he wasn't playing as aggressively on those situations. He wasn't tackling with the same fundamentals I saw as a freshman. Just my opinion. I think he was playing not to get hurt. But he's made it to the NFL, which was obviously his goal all along. And if you think about everything we know about the defense they want to run, right? And we know that their coordinator previously was in San Francisco, and what he likes in corners, he likes aggression, right? Length and ball skills. And Darryl Stingley Jr. has all those things in spades. So it's perfect how it worked out for them.
Hey, Vinny, real quick, I'm going to check on my mom real quick while you figure out who the Commanders should have, okay? I'll be right back.
Go.
So is it okay if I just say my rundown of who I'm picking?
You may do so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No more Redskins, no more football team. They are now known as the Commanders, to the joy of very, very few people. Most people were really very upset about this because people, including myself, would have preferred the Red Tails or the Red Wolves, or hell.
I came up with a Washington native who's tied into the Black history of DC. The name I came up with was the Dukes, as a tribute to Duke Ellington.
Ooh, that sounds like an awesome
I have a whole
name.
article, in fact, on alternate names that would have tied into the Black history of Washington, D.C. that would not have required that they purchase or buy out or anything. Like ones you're naming, unfortunately, are all things that somebody has already trademarked. So the Washington Red Tails, a long list of others, Red Wolves, a long list of others. They run into an intellectual property issue because I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's not a young man now. It is I guess early 60s, but a lawyer years ago, knowing that eventually they were going to have to ditch their slur of a name, started buying up.
It's a nice way of putting the term Redskins. Just calling a slur. I think it's a way more. It
might be more, but it's a large number. I remember that. And he got almost all the ones you named, but not I researched it, not the ones I put in my article.
The Duke sounds really cool, though. Yep. Though I will be honest here, I don't care if you name yourselves the Washingtons or something like that, or hell, I wouldn't even if they just kept the name and just changed their logo to a potato. Everything would still say the same. The pipes will be burning in the toilets and on fans. You'd have controversies involving Snyder, honestly kind of throwing like John Gruden under a bus. You'd have all these. You still have the government investigating for financial crimes. You'd still have the skeleton of FedEx Field as less and less seats are available because they take more and more out. Yes. So even then, it's still going to be a situation. So in many ways, I kind of feel bad for whoever goes there. And I say that very, very lightly because there are a lot of people I do like that are fans of the Commanders. And, I do wish them the best. But, I will say, even though I do pick, it's because of the loss of someone that decided to go to greener pastures in Jacksonville of all teams. So who could replace Brandon Scherf, a multi-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman? And with Conlon and Neil gone, even though you could argue this is more of a tackle, I say he's still available. I think Charles Cross will be a really, really nice pick for them at number 11, and I would consider this to be a steal, in my opinion.
Sure. Or you could even play him at tackle and push. I mean, they've got, I don't want to call them like seat warmers exactly, but they don't have anybody who can pass protect like Charles Cross on the current roster, I guess what I'm trying to say.
No,
so
not at all.
if you could you play him at guard, quite possibly. But I think that looking at the roster as currently constituted, and looking at the fact that there's some pretty good pass rushers they're going to face this year. I mean, luckily they stacked a bunch of them on their team to keep them, I guess, away from other teams. But they're going to face some pretty good pass rushers during the season. And their current group of tackles, just to sort of briefly touch on them, are certainly NFL players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about, these are not guys who I'm saying shouldn't be in the league. But none of them should be able to keep, in my mind, should be able to keep Charles Cross on the bench. Sadiq Charles, solid player. In fact, I might kick him inside to guard, but he's played tackle for them in the past. That's something I might do, is just say, hey, you're welcome to playing guard. You're a guard now. Other players on the roster who I think could fill the guard, may be better at guard. I think Cosme stays outside. I think he's a tackle. Leno could probably play guard. In fact, has played some guard. I think Leno could play guard. You might kick him inside. But Cross and Cosme now gives you a young athletic tandem at tackle. So I think that be what you want to do there, and then kick either Leno or Sadiq Charles inside to guard.
Zenny, I'm taking offensive tackle Charles Cross from Mississippi State for the Commanders.
I had a feeling. Charles Cross. Great choice, Charles Cross.
And I was saying to Bill that whoever goes there, I'll be fortunate because they were Ron Rivera, but also sad because they're under the ownership of Dan Snyder.
Boy, oh boy. That's something else, man. He's going to escape that thing, by the way.
I mean, I was telling Bill, no matter who you get, the pipes will be still leaking sewage onto the fans.
Yes.
I'm not joking. That actually did happen during the season multiple times.
Oh my lord. Yeah, they need a new stadium. Okay, going back to Bill Carroll's.
He's not old too. He's only like 20 years old.
And for the Minnesota Vikings, now my feeling basically is that the Vikings could benefit. I mean, they had at one point Sammy Watkins, and they don't have him, and they've had they really need. I think they need Garrett Wilson. I really do, and so Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, is going to become a Minnesota Viking player, and I think he's going to do extremely well there.
Yeah. Well, they have a nice situation, right? You've got obviously Justin Jefferson, who's drawing the other team's top corner.
Yep.
And then you have Adam Thielen, who's usually in the slot.
Yep.
Who is occupying obviously the nickel. Now you're facing the other team's second or sometimes third best coverage guy. Yeah, he should do very well.
Garrett Wilson will clean up in that new offense. I can't wait. So, Bill, you have control of the Texans at number 13.
Okay, got it. So, once again, the advantage of being a terrible football team is you can use everything. There's not a single position except maybe quarterback. It looks like they've sort of lucked into, to some extent, a really terrific situation with the development of Davis Mills. There's a lot of good
that one, man. I call that one. That's Dave Shaw. How can you say luck?
Dave Shaw, and let's give some love to Alonzo Pep Hamilton too, who's done great work with a lot of young quarterbacks, both in college and in the NFL.
Yes,
Give him some love. And someday, and hopefully someday soon, Pep Hamilton should be getting interviews for NFL coaching job.
Should have got it for the Raiders.
Thank you, amongst others.
So.
Amongst others, but yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I would have, if obviously, I mean, you can't go back in time, but if I was the Jacksonville Jaguars, I bet they wish they had him instead of, you know who. Yeah. They wouldn't be looking for another coach every year if they, whatever. We won't go down this path anymore. But
why not?
Well, we could, but I think we're trying to complete a draft. So with the
Besides, Vinny is talking out, and see, that's why I got coffee, Vinny.
With the Texans, as I mentioned, there's not a single position that they could not use. They can use every single thing, everything. But in the opportunity to get a 10-year player, a decade player, who's going to probably be in that 10 years or so years, probably 5 or 6 times in the Pro Bowl and 2 or 3 times first team All-Pro, and a guy who is terrific both as a pass protector and is terrific in the run game, terrific athlete too, a guy who was a top shot put and discus athlete as a high school guy, was one of the few people to ever defeat Tristan Wirfs in his high school wrestling career, and that's Tyler Lindenbaum of Iowa. Some people were concerned about his size at 6'2" and 1/8 and 296, but I would urge you, as they say, throw on the tape. Very few times, even against some of the largest 0-1 techniques he faced, did he struggle. There was a few times where you'd find we get stalemated, but because of his ability as a wrestler, and once again, full disclosure, I did wrestle in high school and in college, but there's things that you learn that in terms of use of feet and use of leverage, even when you're smaller or not as powerful as someone else, that allow you to hold them. You see him consistently managing to handle, like I said, if not defeat, at least stalemate even the largest of nose guards or nose tackles he's faced. So I think you take him, and I think you're set at that position for 10 years.
Tyler Lindenbaum. Got it.
It's supposed to be the Texans, not the Ravens.
Yeah, that's the Texans.
Yeah, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. Now, Vinny, you're the Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens. This is a team that I picked to win their division last year, and I expected them to actually be in the AFC Championship game. I was very big on the Ravens. Even with the injury season, I still had them win that division, and it did look like that was going to be the case for most of the season until they started losing again and again and again, and they lost 6 straight games to finish up their season, and they fall all the way to 4th in their. They finished all the way last in their division, the toughest division in the NFL in terms of just closeness between the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th teams, but still last in their division, 8-9. This is a team that needs help on its defense. This is a team I really did think Zadarius Smith was going to go there, but he had a change of heart and decided to go play for the other team in purple in the Vikings, if I recall correctly. So I say, you know what? Who needs to pay a lot of money for someone who we've dealt with before? Why not spend less money on a young guy that could fit in our system? And the Bengals just made it to the Super Bowl. The Steelers are always competitive. The Browns just traded for Deshaun Watson. The AFC has some good players, and I feel that someone like Jermaine Johnson, the defensive end out of Florida State, could really be the.
Shit.
What are you saying? I picked him to go play for the purple and black in Baltimore, Maryland, and face off against Deshaun Watson, to face off against Joe Burrow, and of course to face off against Mitch Trubisky.
Wow.
Great pick. It's a great pick.
I was saying to the Eagles, they just screwed up my plans, dude.
It happens every year.
Thank you very little.
I like it.
God.
Hey, to be fair, I was very close to picking Darryl Stingley to go to the Commanders. So, if anything, this just happens.
I will see your Jermaine Johnson, and I will match you with Jordan Davis. A man
there you go. There you got a chance to pick Jordan Davis.
Doggone it. Yep.
It worked.
I like that pick for the Eagles.
So I think is better than Johnson.
They're a year away from losing Fletcher Cox, so they're going to need somebody to be the straw that stirs the drink on the inside of their defense soon.
He's the guy. He is the guy. Bill, you have control of the Jameis Winston-led New Orleans Saints.
Yes, and this is once again one of those ideal scenarios, right? This has worked out exactly as they hoped. So we've seen one Ohio State wide receiver leave the board, and now it's time for the other one to leave the board.
You gotta do it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
First of all, he fits the offense. He really fits the offense. Like, he's a perfect fit for their offense. And he's a guy that can play literally all of the positions. He can play. We've seen him. Like, it's not theoretical. We've actually seen him line up in Z, in the slot, and at X in his times at the Ohio State University.
Super Bowl, baby. Woo!
Since playing with Wilson and Smith and Ngigba. And watch for Jackson Smith and Ngigba next year, he's going to be another true. He's going to go somewhere in the top 20 probably next year as well. They've got a lot of good wide receivers there. Jamison Williams had to transfer. That's how many good wide receivers they had at Ohio State. But yes, this is a great spot for him, and it's a great spot for New Orleans. It's a real kismet, right? It worked out perfectly.
So basically, Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, Batman and Robin.
It works out pretty perfectly, yes.
I mean, with Jameis Winston pulling the trigger, that is scary, man.
It would be. And this is what the Saints are basically hoping for. If things went perfectly, this is what the Saints would have happened.
On Instagram, there are people who already have this guy sized for number 2 jersey. Okay? Which means Jameis Winston gets his number 3, I suppose. But if this happens, oh my Lord, that will be like, earthquake, man. Major, because you have Michael Thomas coming back.
And let's hope he's healthy this time.
Saints do not.
We've missed out a whole season for this.
Yeah, but the Saints do not have a bad set of base receivers. Okay, no. They did well last year with Winston, but these two, woo, man, oh man.
Right.
Oh, okay, enough. I'm just, my head got over.
If Winston did not get hurt, the Saints would have been a real threat in the playoffs. I'm serious.
Oh yeah, they would have went deep into the playoffs. Oh,
I really do think they could have. I mean, with how the 49ers were last year, I think the Saints could have realistically been like the 49ers in the playoffs. I'm being serious.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Vinny, you got the Chargers.
Oh man, what more could you say about the AFC West? Like, it is almost like a nuclear arms race going on between the Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders. Hell, if anything, looks like the Chiefs have gotten worse. And, you're the Chargers now, and, oh, man, the Broncos just got Russell Wilson. The Raiders just traded for Davonte Adams. Well, it may not be the flashiest, but we still need to find
killed. Russell Wilson gets killed. Newsflash.
That is true, but I'd hate to be, if you're the Chargers, you see all this offensive firepower that's coming to these teams, and you're like, we have some to ourselves, but we also want to crush those dreams too. We also want to be the team that wants to stop Russell Wilson. We want to be the team that stops Derek Carr. And we want to be the team with especially, Kill. We also want to be the team that can especially stop Patrick Mahomes as we have been their biggest Achilles heel in terms of competitiveness the last several years in the Patrick Mahomes era. So I feel the best case scenario is if they get Devin Lloyd out of Utah as a linebacker coming in for them.
There you go.
I think they need help at linebacker. I think he'd be perfect for them.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes, I like it too. That's why I picked it.
Ooh, good pick, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, boy. Ooh, good penny.
Boy.
Philadelphia Eagles to New Orleans, that would be okay. So it comes back to me because we went to me a bit ago. So I go here, right? And then Bill after me. And then Vinny after Bill. And Vinny gets Steelers. And then we go all over again, and we get me going in control of the Pats. Oh, I can't wait. I got something for them. Anyway, okay.
Can't wait for this one.
Oh yeah, but I got something for the Eagles too. I got something for
the Eagles again.
I got something for the Eagles. I say it just like that. I got something for the Eagles, okay? All y'all picking, I'm gonna say it just like this. All y'all picking, all y'all, I'm gonna say with a crook in my elbow, all y'all picking all these offensive people, all y'all think y'all got some. You know what? I got something for you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And his name, what do you do when you have a defensive tackle that can crush the middle? What does it imply? It implies that you're going to play a stacked defense with DeMarvin Leal behind Jordan Davis.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Oh,
look at that beautiful.
Ooh, I like it. Another defensive tackle, but really bolstering that. Really bolstering the middle.
At that.
I like
it.
Look
at that.
I really, especially as the Eagles as a team are the best through the middle, and I like this pick.
Look at that. I'm stacked. I got my tackle, and I got my tackle.
French kiss.
I got
chef's kiss.
Tackle.
Chef's kiss.
Tackle. I got my tackle on the defense. I got my tackle on the offense. I'm building my lines because where do great championship teams start?
The trenches.
That's right. So there we go. DeMarvin Leal. Next, in fact, I had one mock draft where the Eagles had 2 tackles. 2 offensive tackles. Bookends. All right. Bill, you have control of the Saints yet again.
Yes, the Saints are back on the clock, which is
great.
great.
I first have a real question. Why did the Saints decide to get one of the Eagles' first-round picks for this year? And was the intention to try to maybe use that as leverage to trade up when the draft happens?
I think they certainly considered it. I think it'll come down to a couple things. So if, say, for instance, Malik Willis comes down to them or is coming down close to them and they need to move up maybe a couple of spots ahead of
Malik Willis,
Carolina or whoever that they think might take him. I think they might package the 2 picks together to move up to do that.
They ain't taking Malik Willis. I'll tell you what's going on, okay? Forget that. The Saints know that they were able to get a steal with Jameis, okay?
Yeah.
And they could take that money they saved that they ordinarily would have spent and then some on Watson if they wanted to go in that direction, but they got outbid. And now they realize, look, they've got the guy that knows their offense, that is a crackerjack passer, who's going to be more mobile with better legs because he's rehabbed. And that's Jameis Winston, who I might add is Heisman Trophy winner, one of the most prolific passers in his young NFL career. And finally, in the right offense, you've got Michael Thomas coming back. And as Drew Brees said, none other than Drew Brees, you put the right players around Jameis. Bringing in Malik Willis is not the right player. And at the NFL annual meeting, Dennis Allen said, hey, look, the reason why I want Taysom Hill at tight end is because I don't want him standing next to me while Jameis is quarterback. So if he doesn't want Taysom Hill standing next to him while Jameis is quarterback, do you think he's going to go out and get Malik Willis and have Malik standing next to him while Jameis is quarterback? The answer is no.
No, I don't think
that
so.
Is not happening, okay? The Saints see that they Possibly might get Tyrann Mathieu at safety, not sure, but they lost the safety. They lost some key defenders to retirement. So they need to plug these holes. And they're in the right position to do it and build a team around the man who will be their Super Bowl winning quarterback, and that's Jameis Winston. I don't care what any white media says. And that's really where it's come from. Okay? Mm-hmm. Jameis Winston is going to lead this team to a Super Bowl. Win or lose the Super Bowl, he will lead them. Mark it. It's happening. Bill, you're on the clock.
Well, the Saints have addressed at least some of their needs on offense. Now they will address one of their needs on defense with, you can call him a defensive end if you want to. He's really sort of a 4-eye, a 5, a 3, 7 tech. I mean, he moves around a lot, and he should. That's really how you get the best use out of him, is finding matchups, and that's Trayvon Walker from University of Georgia.
Great voice. My God.
It's a good place for him. Like, I've heard people pushing him much higher on the board, and I frankly don't see it. But he's a really good movable piece. He's a really good, like I said, find the matchup, find the situation. And yes, even he's going to, line up on the outside shoulder of a guard in some situations. He's going to line up maybe even out wide at some situations, but in some of your, NASCAR or dragster or IndyCar, what do you call your packages where you're putting 4 or 5 pass rushers right there on the line of scrimmage? He's going to be an interior pass rusher, and he's going to be a devastatingly good one. So that helps, everything. As you just said, if you have someone who demands double teams on the inside, that's freeing someone else to get one-on-ones.
He makes a great defensive line Super Bowl level. Okay? That's what he does. If this happens, and Bill and Vinny, the number of scenarios I've seen with mock drafts already put the Saints in really a great position to field a scary team this year.
Man, those Buccaneers Saints games are going to be so fun.
Oh, I feel sorry for Tom Brady. He's going to get killed.
Did you see that Brady was apparently 40 chess trying to get to the Dolphins?
I don't believe that. I just think somebody.
Yeah, that feels a little outlandish to even me.
You know what I think that is? I think that's somebody making that up, knowing that nobody can confirm that, just so they get clickbait. That is a perfect. We got to do that sort of thing. Think of some story out there that nobody can really check on.
Do you think Brady's ever going to mention that? Of course not.
Okay.
You mean an unsubstantiated report that Hugh Jackson, before taking the Grambling job, was fielding offers from, I don't know, the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to confirm that. It could be possible, but he's not going to confirm it or deny it.
Exactly.
Well, think about it. The Jacksonville Jaguars are in a massive rebuilding mode. Sorry, and
rebuilding.
Who better than Hugh Jackson to lead them?
Hey, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a field day with news like that, okay? Oh, my Lord.
Lots of memes, too, don't forget, Zenny. Lots of memes.
Yeah.
I mean, to be the former head coach of the Browns or the Jaguars, it feels like a lateral move, if anything.
Oh, gosh. So, Vinny, I hear that the Pittsburgh Steelers are considering bringing Bill Cowher back as assistant head coach.
Listen, he's already in the Hall of Fame, so he can do whatever he wants. He'll still be there. So hey, if Tony La Russa can do it, if for baseball, and if Joe Gibbs can do it for football, I don't see why Bill Cowher can't. But
I can see a perfect headline from Mike Tomlin. Well,
yeah, that definitely won't put any pressure on him.
Brian Flores, we had his back, and we wanted to bring him into the Steeler fold. What better way to have a man that would serve very well with Coach Flores than the legendary Bill Cowher? And we will conquer the league. We'll know everything about everybody there is to know. I can see Tomlin saying.
I think Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach already, in my personal opinion. He's never had a losing season once in his career. So I think that would not really just feel kind of weird, but it's a similar situation to the Hugh Jackson and Jacksonville stories. But as for the Steelers, my time, especially when watching football, while the Steelers are known historically as a very defensive-minded team, especially now, for a lot of times in the 2010s, they've been mostly known as an offensive-first team. And, a big reason why they were so good on the offensive side of the ball was not just because of Ben Roethlisberger and Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown or numerous other players, but also because they were a strong offensive line. David Castro, from my understanding, he had to retire early because of injuries. Villanueva, he left with the Ravens and he shortly retired. Marquise Pouncey, their Hall of Fame center, also retired. And, other guy contributor like Ramon Foster is also retired for them. So the Steelers are a team. They have Mitch Trubisky back there. Obviously, he's no Ben Roethlisberger, though one could argue he might actually be better than how Ben Roethlisberger was last season. But you also know that in order to compete against teams like the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals, the Steelers are still going to have to be very, very competitive here. So I think the Steelers need to find a replacement in the offensive line category. And I feel like Kenyon Green from Texas A&M would be a really good pick.
And a very Steelers pick. Well done.
It just feels like something they would do. It just feels like a very,
100%.
very safe pick for them. And
100%.
I like the pick, too, for them.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Kenyon Green. Now we come to the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots.
Ooh, you've been excited for this?
Have a great young quarterback who I believe be well served, very, very well served by a certain wide receiver from Arkansas. That's right, Treylon Burks.
Ah.
How cool would that be?
It would help.
That would be... If that's the case, then bye-bye, N'Keal Harry. That's what that means.
Treylon Burks. I see him as a possession burner. And I don't see them, because I think in terms of 5 wides and 4 wides, as I don't see Harry replacing or Burks replacing Harry. I see them as creating a very, very fast quartet of receivers for the Patriots at a time when a number of teams are developing or already have, in the case of the Commanders, very fast quartets and quintets of receivers. Speed is the name of the game. And I think the Patriots are going to play in the speed pool this time in the draft. Speed and effectiveness. Treylon's not the fastest. Well, he's pretty fast, though. Okay.
That is for his size. Yeah. For a big receiver. He's not slow. Yeah. He's not super fast. He's not slow.
Right. So there you go. Now, moving forward, guess who gets control of Green Bay?
You're going to take a quarterback, aren't you, Bill?
Bill.
No, but the run on receivers continues. And the attempt to get more this is, once again, sort of a perfect situation. Drake London is a dominant X-type alpha dog receiver for a team that just lost a dominant X-type alpha dog receiver. And just like Davonte Adams was not exactly a speed burner, I don't know if Drake London's doing his, was it today?
Mm-hmm.
It was today that Drake London did his pro day, right?
Yeah, it was today.
Does anybody have his verified 40 time?
Let me see. I'm checking it now.
But I'm going to guess it's probably in the mid to low 4.5s, which is fine for a guy his size.
I'll let you know. 1 second.
And just as a point of clarification, 4.56 is what Davonte Adams ran coming out of Fresno State. So while speed is important, as was just mentioned, there are other ways to be a successful wide receiver, right? A lot of the best receivers in the league were guys that ran in the mid to upper 4.5s.
His 40, by the way, Bill.
What'd you say?
Drake London did not want to run his 40 today.
Oh, okay. Well, then he leaves it a beautiful mystery. I will continue to lean on my assumption they would have probably run somewhere in the mid to high 4.5s, which is fine. As I said, Davonte Adams, Antonio Brown, and of course the greatest of all time, Jerry Rice, are all guys that ran between 4.59 and 4.56. So that's fine. I'm assuming he's somewhere in that range, and he's 6'3" and 7/8 with long arms, big hands, and he's the best contested, catch, jump ball, 50-50 ball, pick a term, receiver in the whole entire draft class. He excels at it. And there's times when he was double, even triple covered, and Keenan Slovis or Jackson Dart would just sort of throw it up there, and he would come down with it almost every time. But the bonus for him is what he does after the catch. There's plays where he catches the ball 6-7 yards away from the first down, away from the goal line, and he powers through 2 or 3 tackles and scores or gets a first down. He plays the game for a basketball guy. Guy was a 2-sport athlete, played for USC for a couple of seasons before he decided to concentrate this last year on just football. He doesn't play like a basketball guy. And of course, my notes on him were Mike Evans at 33 1/3, for those who are old enough to remember long playing records versus EPs and 45s. But yes, that was my notes on him. He's not as fast as Mike Evans, but he's pretty much everything else.
Vinny, you got the cards.
The Arizona Cardinals. At one point, it looked like they might have been the best team in the league, and then the rest of the season kind of caught up with them. This is a team that the last 2 years, it seems like they start off right out the gates, first half, they're looking great. And then they start petering out to what they might truly be near the end of the season. Unlike last year, this time they actually did make the playoffs. But once they were there, that's all she wrote against the Rams, and the Rams went on to win the Super Bowl. Also, in that same division, the Niners went on a run to go to the NFC Championship game. So you have 2 teams in your own division that also made the playoffs along with you, that made it all the way to either the NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl victory. The Cardinals know they're going to be hosting the Super Bowl for this upcoming season, and they want to have the opportunity to be the 3rd team in a row to host the Super Bowl on their own home turf. And when you have 2 great defenses in the Rams and the 49ers, I think it makes sense that you kind of want to have someone there to protect Kyler Murray, especially with rumors going around saying that he might not be happy with his current contract. You want to make sure he's happy there. And, a great way to keep him happy is to give him better protection. So I think taking Bernard Raymond out of CMU, I think that's a good pick. I think that could really help.
The only
out.
real concern people have is that he's the oldest prospect that anyone has anywhere close to a top 100 grade on. He turns 25 before the season begins, but he's a terrific athlete and a guy who was a tight end until less than 2 years ago. He's only been playing, on the offensive line since the spring of the COVID year, right? So
Jason Peters,
he's very, very new to playing offensive tackle, but the arrow points up on him in a lot of ways. Like I said, other than being an older prospect, pretty much everything else I love about him.
All right. Cardinals made their pick. Cowboys made their pick. Picks in. Malik Willis. Boom.
Just Malik Willis mic drop.
Is that what that is? Okay. Well, then we're moving on. That's fine. I just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So the next pick that's coming in is the Bills, and that's me, right? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to say one thing.
Bill, you take the Bills.
I'm going to say one thing now that I've dropped the mic.
Go ahead. You may pick the mic back up, I guess, and begin speaking again.
No, I'm grabbing another mic. I'm going to let that mic stay.
Oh.
Well, gotta make sure this.
So it's just a stage littered with microphones.
Jerry Jones is actually going to do this. You hear me? Jerry Jones is actually going to do this. Why?
It would be bold.
Speed kills. That man represents speed. Jerry Jones is going to reach for his Aaron Al Davis. And then love the situation where Dak Prescott is pushed. And in 2 or 3 years, from Jones' perspective, he can't lose. He's got Willis developed to play in his system, who by then ought to be starting. And if he's not pushing Prescott out of the building, Prescott is pushing him to be traded, or a scenario like that. But Jerry Jones will not leave that currency on the table. I'm telling you, he will not do it. I just dropped 2 mics.
Okay. I'm just make sure you want to drop any additional mics. Is that the end of the mic dropping?
No, I did it deliberately because you downgraded this dude over. I'm like, there is. I will say this though, in defense of you, Bill.
I don't think I downgraded him. I think I simply said that he's the best quarterback in this draft class, but I don't have a first-round grade on any of them. But I like him more than I like any of the others.
Except, however, you do, or maybe this is an old one, but you had Desmond Ridder ranked over him.
I don't believe that's correct.
Yeah, you're bored.
Hold on, let me look at it because I don't think that's correct. I'm looking at it now. Hold on.
You must have changed something.
I don't think I have Ridder ahead of him.
Yeah. I'm looking right at it. Bill Carroll's top 300 prospects pre-combine.
Oh, okay. Well, pre-combine. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. Pre-combine.
He had Desmond Ridder. That's fine. No,
yeah. Okay. So you don't have the newest version. This is the pre-combine version. I'll give you the post in a couple of days. But you're right. Pre-combine. You're right. Pre-combine. Yeah.
But it bears a question, which I believe will bear fruit a valuable answer. Why did you make that change?
Well, I never liked any of them in the first, as I said before. And it was always very close together. The top 3 guys are, in my mind, are very close together. And Corral isn't far off. I mean, I have them all. I have Ridder, Pickett, and but Willis is the one that has the most potential of all of them. And then Pickett actually has sort of the least potential of all of them, but he's the one who's the closest to being ready. Partially because he's 24 years old. I mean, he's an older prospect. He's played a lot of football, and he's very ready to be at the next level, but he doesn't have as much potential, as much talent as either Willis or Ridder. And then,
since this is pre-combine, who, in your opinion, among them did the best at the combine?
Willis. Yeah, obviously Malik Willis. Yeah, but I mean, the combine is just that. It's still throwing against air and running around and just, being impressive. And he also had great interviews. He interviewed extremely well, was good on the whiteboard. Mm-hmm. But
it obviously impacted your view, right?
I mean, they were all close together anyway. I would just say that.
I mean, there's a reason he's ahead of them.
Yeah. I mean, he's the most, all along, I said that Malik Willis had the most potential of any of the quarterbacks in the class.
Yeah, but you didn't have him rated number 1 going to the combine. See, what I'm trying to get at is the aha moment where you said, I'm going to switch this, because there's always that aha moment.
I don't think there ever was an aha moment with any of the quarterbacks. I think it's more of like a slow accretion of data is probably a better way to put it, rather than an aha moment. Just like the thing that had me push Pickett down, it wasn't an aha moment, but I went back and rewatched all of his bad weather games for the past 2 seasons, and I couldn't help but notice a trend. He's incredibly devastatingly accurate in good weather games, but his bad weather games, across the board, his bad weather games are always his worst games. And I don't think that's just a coincidence. I think that's the one place where that hand size thing actually emerges as a problem, is when you watch him with a wet football and rainy weather conditions and windy conditions. You start to see that's where that gets him a little bit. Like, he's still not terrible, but he's just not that elite level accuracy goes whenever he gets rain and wind. And I noticed that in every single game I watched.
All right, so who you got for the Bills?
Oh, well, I've been trying to pick for the Bills for a minute now. Zion Johnson, guard from Boston College. He also can play center as well. So you have a guy who I think could play at a Pro Bowl level at either one of those 2 spots. And one of the most impressive things is at the Senior Bowl, he would stay late and come in early to work on snapping because it was not a strength of his game, but he's worked really hard on it. So knowing that some team may see him as a center. But yeah, he's a terrific player with incredibly high character and a good athlete.
Vinny, Titans.
The Titans know that the AFC South is a two-team race between them and their folks up in Indianapolis. They know that the Colts, especially with Matt Ryan as their quarterback now, are getting better. They know that they want to knock the Titans off that porch because they know that the division is between them together. But I know that with the Colts' strength being their offensive line, as the Titans, you need to do the best you possibly can to exploit any weaknesses that could be found in that offensive line. And to me, in my opinion, I think a great way to try to do that would be taking a linebacker. I think taking Nakobe Dean out of Georgia would be,
you did it again. You
would be a great option for them, just to try to see if they can go through any nooks and crannies and see if they can try to tackle or sack anyone from the Colts. And yeah, I like how you. Yeah, it's. I mean, Zenny, I got you 2-0. Oh now.
Oh man. Well, okay. I had a feeling that might happen. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It was bound to happen one of these times.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. I got a feeling.
I had a
feeling.
That's a nice
feeling. Some trying to get in our frat, and we ain't gonna have no shit like that. Now, okay. So, having said all that, Andrew Booth from Clemson, the Bucks. Yeah,
like a talented but sort of handsy, grabby corner. He'll need to
handsy, grabby.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I remember some of my DB coaches used to do.
You know what? As long as he doesn't take that to the nightclub, I think he's okay.
Well, one of the things that some of my DB coaches would do with a guy that was like that is make him put on boxing gloves in practice to try to break him of the habit.
Interesting. Packers. Okay, so now we come to Packers. We come back to Bill. Is for Green Bay, followed by Vinny for Kansas City 1, and followed by me for Kansas City 2. So, all right, take it away, Bill.
Yes. So,
Green Bay.
Yeah. This is working out pretty well for the Packers. Pretty good day at the office. And the run on Georgia players continues as Davonte Wyatt from Georgia, who is the, once again, a very explosive player, a very powerful player. Still a bit raw, but you saw what they did after, sort of not getting the best out of Rashawn Gary initially. You saw how they, another year's worth of development and coaching, and he had a breakout season last year. I think Davonte Wyatt may be a similar situation where he initially is looked at maybe as a disappointment as a rookie, but I think in a year or two they're going to get a very destructive player on the interior of their defense.
Mm-hmm. So Davonte Wyatt, Packers,
yep. Georgia.
Yep. In control of the Chiefs.
Okay. Man, the Chiefs. They have not had a good off season for the most part. Not because they've necessarily done anything bad, but because everyone else in their division actually did things. The Broncos, like I said, got Russell Wilson. The Raiders got Devontae Adams.
Russell Wilson's going to get killed. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think so too. But at the same time, and the Chargers look like they're going to get better too because, and what's worse for the Chiefs is that, some of their most important players, particularly Tyrann Mathieu and Tyreek Hill, are no longer with the team.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, we could really lose our stranglehold in this division. What can we do? Patrick Mahomes is furious at us the fact that, yeah, we may have gotten some picks out of it, but there's no way he can be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks like a perfect opportunity to get the fastest of the top wide receivers available. He's obviously not the top wide. He's obviously not Tyreek Hill levels of quickness and speed. But granted, he is called Cheetah for a reason, and it's very, very difficult to emulate that. But as a complimentary pick, he's as a complimentary prize, as a consolidation prize, as something you would be okay with having, even if someone like Tyreek Hill were to leave, which happened. Chris Olave out of Ohio State sounds like a good option.
He's gone.
Yes,
he is. Oh,
Chris Olave is now already living. He's temporarily with Jameis Winston, and they're working on timing as we speak.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, okay. So scratch those plans. Forget everything I just said because I almost forgot what else was on there. It happens. So next option, Jamison Williams.
Nope.
Alabama.
Gone.
He's also gone too.
Yes.
Man, I've been bad here. Well, all right. Well,
let the big board, Bill Carroll, let Bill's big board save you, or to continue the alliteration, let Bill's big board bail you out.
Okay, big board. With Tyrann Mathieu gone, you also do need help at safety. So
Bill, that's your nickname, Big Board.
My other choice would be Jaquan Brisker, personally, at Penn State.
Nicely done.
That could help you out with safety. That would be my other choice.
So now,
wide receiver.
With Juan Thornhill and Jaquan Brisker, you have two position-agnostic, athletic young safeties. They can either one can play strong or free, and they're both athletic enough to be able to play in the slot. That's a nice group.
My bad. Sorry about that.
Zennie, you have the.
Hold on a second. I made a mistake. I got it. Okay, sorry. Quick recovery. Okay. Next is I'm next. So since you took Brister, and I feel like I have to compliment that, right? I am going to raise you that, and I'm going to bring in Trip McDuffie.
Okay. Feisty little corner/nickel from Washington.
Yeah, but you know what? We have really major league upgraded the Chiefs secondary at a time when it needed it.
Definitely.
Right? Brister and McDuffie. Remember those names for the Chiefs, folks. Bill, you're on the clock.
Yes, sir. So as we are getting close to the end of the first, there's still some very good players left. So I love when that happens. Mm-hmm. The player that I am going to select is a player that I was a fan of, and I went back and watched and then rewatched and then watched some more. And each time I watched, I was a bigger fan each time I watched. And I was a little bit afraid when I heard Vinny talking earlier, especially after he lost out on some of the receivers, and I thought he was going to jump over to safety. I was afraid he was taking this player, but he didn't. So this player is now still available. So I'm going to take Jalen Petrie from Baylor, and I truly believe he's going to, once again, we talked about pairings. I mean, together with Jesse Bates, I like this pick. P-I-T-R-E.
P-I, thank you.
It's pronounced Petrie, but it's spelled P-I-T-R-E. But now, together with Jesse Bates, we're talking about, maybe the best safety tandem, certainly the best safety tandem in the division, and one of the best in all of pro football. I'm thrilled. And it's spelled Jalen, J-E-L-E-N.
Thank you.
No problem.
Got it. Vinny. The Lions to close us out.
Final pick of the mock draft goes to the Detroit Lions, a team that had a chance to potentially go winless for the third time, which, if I recall, I think that the only time this happened 3 times by a team was by the Cardinals, who I know did it in consecutive years back in the 40s, if I recall. One of those times they were paired with the Steelers, Card Pitt specifically. And, the Lions, they got a wide receiver early on. It's not one I personally would have taken, but it is what it is. So I would say the Lions really need help in the trenches, specifically through the middle. And I say, why not go close out?
Hey, man, you know what? I'm bored.
I mean, it just makes sense. Makes sense to have the choice that should go to a championship, the champions, the Rams. So why not bring a little bit of that championship energy to the Lions in the form of Davonte Wyatt, the defensive tackle out of Georgia?
Nope, not Davonte Wyatt.
Oh, wait. Davonte.
Try again.
Yeah, he's taken.
Oh, he's already taken?
Yeah,
no, he was already taken.
Ago.
Man, I'm bad at this. I'm so bad at this.
Vinny,
I'm like drawing a blank sometimes.
Hey, Vinny, I'm the one who's 60, not you.
Oh, I know you turned 60 in August, right?
Hey, I'm the one who's 59, not you.
Okay, fair point. Fair point. I've been blanking a lot. I've been looking at the mock draft. I've been looking at all the draft boards as opposed to the actual choices.
Hey, there's only one board. There's the one by our own Bill Carroll.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it.
But we'll set you free.
But I would also say that when it comes to the Lions, they are a team that tried their very, very hardest last year. It's just that as a team, they just weren't as good. And, I feel like you could actually still have that championship pedigree. We don't know Jeff Okudah's health. So why not go Andrew Booth, Clemson? You still have that championship experience. He's gone too?
Yeah, the Bucks.
Oh, damn it. I am been so bad with this.
Hey, Vinny, to make it worse, do you know why I did it?
Why?
Can I remind you?
Man, I'm so bad at this. It's 12 o'clock over here.
Yeah, it's 12:11. Bill, you know why, right?
Keep Vinny from being able to select him.
Okay.
Because you stole Nakobe Dean from me,
dude.
Yes,
it was revenge. It was revenge. It was a revenge pick. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that, if I do say so myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Revenge is the dish best served drafty.
Yeah.
Okay. Final pick. Final pick of this. Oklahoma. I feel like they need help as a linebacker, and the best one available for me is Brian Osama from Oklahoma.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's one that you guys haven't taken yet, right?
That is one that no one's taken. Yes, that's the best thing about him. He's available. The most convertibility.
Brian with an I, not a Y.
Spell his last name, please.
Asamoah.
Asamoah. It's Asamoah. ASA.
Hmm? Yes. Oh.
MOAH, I believe.
MOAH. That looks right. We'll go with it. Okay. So he rounds out the end. To close us out, we will play this on behalf of the man who bailed on us for his whatever phone call that was. It sounded like a something that's BC, but we do not mean before Christ. Okay.
I know what you mean, man. You know what we're going to do? We're going to kick it, man. Hey, man, you know what? Let's kick it. Let's do it. Just another bored day, chilling at the house, so I hop up in the ride and bounce. Now that I'm out, I'm up in the scene, souped up the team, and we looking kinda clean. People kinda like us 'cause we ain't that mean. Haters wanna trip 'cause we do our thing, but I ain't really tripping, ain't no drama tonight. No haters in sight, so everything is alright. And this is how we do it in the 831. When the time hits, we all act dumb. You know I'm boy, we gonna party tonight. We gonna kick it with the homies till they turn out the street.
Okay, that was pretty good. What do you guys think about that?
I'd say we had a pretty,
it definitely feels like someone who grew up on like that sort of G-Funk era.
Yeah,
like I said, there's a bunch of people that ran through my mind, like, you know, Spice One, E40, a little bit of Be Real in terms of like the nasal delivery. Yeah,
that's from Eric Pagini, and I give Eric credit. Hey, you know what? Anybody who can do that gives 2 thumbs up in my book. My creativity does not extend to that area. I enjoyed hearing it, and in honor of Eric producing it and bringing it to our collective attention, well, really mine. Let's finish that. And then as we finish it, Bill, I'd like to have you at the end of this give us your thoughts regarding this draft, surprises, not surprises, how you think this is going to go versus the draft. But let's finish this.
On a party tonight, we gonna kick it with the homies till they turn out the street. Just another day on the Central Coast, so I ride to the spot where I chill the most. We barbecuing and having a good time. Feels like one of those days in the summertime.
Eric was, of course, Danny Gray, who most people have as like a fifth or sixth round prospect going the very top of the draft. That was a surprise. Some people don't think he's the best receiver on his own team. Some people prefer Roberson, who's more polished, but Gray is the better athlete. Gray is an elite level athlete, while Roberson is probably slightly below level athlete at the position, but a little more raw. I think he'll play in the league with a wide receiver 4/5, but it's a surprise, especially in a deep class of receivers for a guy who's a day 3 receiver to go right.
Time to the night ends, and I got all my friends. You know I'm boy, we gonna party tonight. We gonna kick it with the homies till they turn out the street lights. You know I'm boy, we gonna party tonight. We gonna kick it with the homies till they turn out the street lights. You know I'm boy, we gonna party tonight. We gonna kick it with the homies till they turn out the street lights.
Thank you, Eric. And with a little tweaking, we can call that draft wrap. You might have something there. Now, Bill, you're up. What say you?
So are we back on Danny Gray again? I'm not sure what you were asking me this time.
A draft recap.
Oh, recap. Well, some of the picks I think were terrific and probably pretty close to what will actually happen in the actual draft. I could easily see Vinny's pick at 20 really happening in the real actual draft. I think Kenyon Green could very easily end up there. I could see the Patriots drafting Treylon Burks. If Drake London lasts to pick 22, I truly believe Green Bay will sprint to the podium to make that selection. He could go to the Washington Commanders, or he could go to the Eagles. Those are teams that legitimately are looking for a big-bodied X receiver, but if he makes it past them to Green Bay, they'd be thrilled to have him. I could see either the Giants or the Jets taking Ahmad Sauce Gardner. I could see the Jets or the Giants taking either Ikem Nkwanum or Evan Neal. I think those are roughly equal. Thibodeau or Hutchinson could go to the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are deciding between those two players. I don't think there's any chance that Danny Gray goes in the first couple of days of the draft. So that's sort of a surprise, as I said. I could see Hamilton ending up with the Carolina Panthers if they don't go quarterback. The Seahawks are always a wild card. They could do anything. They're very interested in spark scores. I don't know if people follow that kind of stuff. But if you ever want to understand some of the stuff they do in the draft, look at how many of these guys, when they were coming out of high school, went to Nike camps and killed it on the spark score. I remember when the Bruce Irwin pick came in, people were like, what? I think they took him at pick 7, and I think he was, most people had him in the 20s. And I said Spark score, right? He had an elite level Spark score at a Nike camp coming out of high school. They love that stuff for whatever reason. Let's see. I could see. Oh, the Ravens would be thrilled to get Jermaine Johnson. I think he's one of their favorite players in the whole draft. So I think that's one that could definitely happen. If Jordan Davis made it to 15, yeah, I agree that the Eagles would pick him just based on value. There's a good chance he does get picked maybe as early as 12. Some people even have him in the top 10. If he goes in the top 10, to me that feels like a tiny bit of pushing it in value-wise, but I could see him going anywhere in that 10 to 15 range. And so, yeah, if he makes it to 15, that's to me about perfect value for Jordan Davis. Let's see. So those are picks I really like. And then I mentioned some of the ones later in the draft that I really like. I believe that the receiver safety pairing ends up being something that does go to the Chiefs, and it just basically comes down to who's still available. If Jameson Williams makes it to them, that's probably going to be one of the picks. If he's gone, they could take Drake London. They could take whichever the top receivers is still there. Anybody from Christian Watson to Jameson Williams, Burks, or London, those are the receivers in this class that have a chance to make it to them towards the end part of the first, and then whichever safety makes it to them. So either be Brisker or Petrie or I don't think Hamilton falls that far. I think he's falling a little. Actually, let me rephrase that. I don't think he's falling. I think the NFL was never quite as high on him as quote unquote draft Twitter was. Having him, some people, I don't think the NFL ever had him number 1 overall. The NFL doesn't value safeties like that. Rather unfortunate sometimes, I think, that they don't value safeties as much, but they don't. It's a position that they think of, they like them, they need them, but they don't put them in the top 5 picks of a draft pretty much ever, no matter how good they are. So those are all things that stand out to me. And Stingley, right? If Stingley makes it to the Jets at 10, they will be so happy. They will not. So Jets fans, as we all know, they always cut to the Jets fans, right? The first round of every draft to see them, tearing their jerseys off or setting themselves on fire like the monk in Vietnam or whatever. But this year, if they actually get Stingley at 10, you'll see Jets fans happy with the first round. For
Bill.
Yes.
We were there when the Jets drafted Mark Sanchez.
They were not thrilled with that pick. As you might remember. I remember when they drafted Johnny Mitchell. Remember they drafted Johnny Mitchell? Oh, my God. I truly believe that there were a few Jets fans who may have had heart conditions, so that may have been the thing that pushed them over the edge. The Jets fans are very reactive anyway, and I understand it. It's, been rough. But, yes, if they manage to get Stingley at 10, this might be the moment where when they cut to the Jets fans and are actually happy.
Very, very few. Unless they're shown, they generally hate anyone that's in the organization because they always feel like they're going to screw it up, which is pretty horrible. If you're a fan, but
generational trauma is a real thing, Vinny.
I know, I'm aware of that. Oh, Johnny Mitchell.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, Johnny Mitchell. That was certainly
they also
a pick.
drafted Anthony Beck early in the first 2. There was a run of weird tight end picks that the Jets made in the first round. The Jets have done some bizarre things in the draft in their past.
And hey, folks, if you want to have a little fun, speaking of Mark Sanchez, you can actually watch bless you.
Thanks.
You can actually watch the Zennie62 on YouTube interview. Yes, I said that. I said interview with none other than
Yours truly.
Yours truly would be me. I'm not interviewing myself though. But I am trying to pull this doggone thing up, and it won't. I think because I'm out of screen memory. So I'll just say it. Mark Sanchez All you have to do is type Mark's. All you have to do is basically just type Mark Sanchez, and Zennie62. Oh, wait a minute. It heard me. There it is, folks.
Decided to act right.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. It's 13 minutes, folks. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but here's a taste. This was, I don't know if you remember this, Bill, but Mark came the second day. Remember that? Okay.
Right.
This is it. See, there he is. This was April 26, 2009, as it happened.
Check.
Hey, Matt. Mark.
Favorite quarterback is?
Hey, 3 hours sleep. You know Mike Silver. Mike and I go back.
Right,
Yeah, Mike and I go back to Cal, all the way back to 1986. That's right. The talk on the Berkeley campus that the reason why you got out early is so that you wouldn't have to suffer losing to us this year. What do you think about that?
We haven't lost you guys since
Wait a minute. I forgot I said
Oh, that's the question you asked? Oh, my God. Yeah. Right.
that's the question I asked.
He's terrified of facing those sturdy golden bears.
Well, what's going to happen this year? Your reaction?
I don't know about that.
Folks, that is I am known as the warm-up king, because every time a draftee comes out, absent my existence, he would have sat down and waited a full 10 seconds before anybody asked him anything. And you know that's true, Bill. Okay? But then there's me.
Yes.
If it's not that, then I'll ask a question like, hey, if you were an Avenger, who would you be? As I continue.
How does it feel to be a Jet? Yeah, you guys come up to see us this time.
It's not raining like last time.
Yeah, that was there. Yeah. It was a fun game. Congratulations, too, by the way. You did a great job. Definitely.
See, I got him warmed up.
Yes, you did. You got him warmed up. And he's
He
smiling.
seemed pretty
looks
pumped to
happy.
ask more questions.
Yes.
How does it feel to be a Jet?
Oh, it's really special. I'm just, I'm really grateful and thrilled that Mr. Lindenbaum and Mr. Johnson and Coach Ryan thought enough for me to make that trade and get me on the team and get me part of the Jets family. It doesn't
I'm gonna get those guys fired.
They're definitely a family, and it transcends football. They care about each other. So a lot of what I'm used to at SC being a part of the Trojan family. So it's a whole new deal here in New York, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
At what point?
You heard that the New York fans can be kind of rough.
I heard it.
Yeah.
This is only the first
What do you
day.
have to say to them? Right. So what do you have to say to them when they start to get,
Well, it's a long process. This is like I told everybody. This is not an endpoint. I haven't arrived. Nothing's been accomplished yet. I've only gotten a uniform, and it's going to take a lot of practice and hard work. And I'm ready to do that. I'm a gym rat kind of guy. I'll be around the facility quite a bit.
Coach Shotgun yet?
I sure did. Yes, sir.
What did he tell you?
Oh, he said, "Hey, man, congratulations, but the work starts now." And that's exactly what you want to hear. Is you're going to get a chance to compete for the job, and that's what I'm here for.
And what are you going to say to Kellen Clinton?
I talked to him yesterday. I saw Ratliff in the facility today. He was headed over to Cleveland, so he was, just said congratulations and good luck with everything. He said you're gonna have a great home here. You're gonna love it. And then Kellen, we have the same agent, so I met him before at a golf tournament for our agency at Athletes First. And I just said, hey man, I just wanted to call and out of respect to you and say, I'm excited to be on the team. And he said, man, that's a first class thing to do. You're a real stand-up guy, and we're going to learn a lot from each other, make each other better, make the team better.
Yeah, Mark, at what point did you feel that you were ready? In other words, what was that point in your college career? Yeah, to just come out.
During that decision process, I really didn't think about leaving until after the Rose Bowl, until after the season was over. I don't want to jeopardize our team or our team's success. So, it was after that I sat down with my family, both my parents and my brothers, my high school coach, Bob Johnson, and we thought through some things, and I told him, I sat down for a couple hours by myself and really thought about it and said, this is what I want to do, and it's been in my heart forever. So when I got to Tennessee, I wanted to get my degree. I'm going to graduate in May with a degree in communication, and then I've always wanted to play in the NFL. This is all I've ever wanted to do, and now I'm here, and I'm going to make the most of the opportunity.
Did you feel maybe if you waited one more year, you get injured or something like that? Did that go through your mind?
Not at all. I mean, you can play the what if game all day long, and what if I don't play as well? What if I play even better? What if I would have been the number one pick? It doesn't matter. This is where I'm supposed to be at this moment, and I'm living out that decision to be the right decision for me.
When you came here last week, did you feel you had a pretty good idea that we're going to come after you?
No, not at all. I didn't even see him last week. I wanted to. I asked if I could come by the facilities and stuff, and they said, no, we're in draft preparation mode. So I was like, these guys don't even want me anymore. I don't know. Who knows what's going on? But, when I got that call, I tell you what, I couldn't be happier. And it's pretty rare that you find a team you really fall in love with during this draft process and you actually get to go there. It's almost never happened. So I'm very fortunate, and like I said, it's a big opportunity, and I'm here to work and I'm here to play, so it's gonna be fun.
Mark, you talked for hours. Did they fly out last night?
Yes, sir. Last night on the latest red eye possible. I told him it's a bloodshot red eye yesterday, like midnight out of LAX. So arrived this morning at JFK, and then went straight to the facility and knocked out the press conference there. And now I'm here at Radio City Music Hall, and the whole fam's here celebrating with me.
Mark, have you talked to Coach Carroll since we're drafting?
I sure did. He was at my draft party.
What did he say?
He's so excited. He's so excited for me. He said, LA to New York, you could have scripted it better. So he's fired up at this opportunity for me. And then he said, their spring game yesterday in the Coliseum.
Hey, Bill, so I got to ask you, what do you think about what happened with him?
Say it again?
What do you think about what happened with him?
Well,
Mark
I mean, he's a guy that wasn't. Well, it's two things. One is he wasn't exactly ready to start when he was put out there, which happens. I mean, teams take a quarterback early and they say they're going to wait, but they usually don't, right? Teams promise themselves, they promise lots of things about, we're going to be patient with them, and then week 7 he's out there, right? I mean, it's a tale as old as time. That was part of it. They had some initial success that, making it to the playoffs and even making it, to a championship game, an AFC championship game. But it was sort of papering over, right? The success sort of covered up some of his flaws. In a way, it would have been almost better if they had struggled more early on. Not better, but it would have been more honest, I guess, in terms of what you saw. And the success they were having, largely defensive based, kept you from really noticing some people from noticing certain things that he struggled with. Like many young quarterbacks, he got stuck on his first read a lot of times and would get to his second and third option a little late. And they didn't have the world's most dynamic passing attack either, as I'm sure you've already observed, already broken down at various points. It wasn't exactly the ideal offense for the kind of quarterback he was, and he wasn't ideal. I mean, he's a guy that probably shouldn't have gone quite as early in the draft, and probably shouldn't have been put out there as early as he was playing.
You think? No, I think Mark Sanchez's position is. I attribute where he went to what I call the USC at the time, USC pixie dust, and he was USC quarterback. And in those days, if you were a USC quarterback, you were expected to go in the first round. Remember that?
Well, until finally guys like John David Booty and what's his name broke them of it, and Chad and Kessler finally broke them of it. But I mean, they the Orange County thing, right? I mean, Orange County is a hotbed of quarterbacking and has been forever. And Barkley is the guy that is still hanging around, but he's been a backup. Carson Palmer was a terrific prospect and was on his way to being an elite level quarterback. And obviously, we all know what happened with Kimo von Oelhoffen rolling into his knee, and then him having a fight with the organization, and then eventually finding his way out of there. But he was a very, very good quarterback, and
yeah,
and under different circumstances, who knows what he might have become. But since then, people point to the USC quarterbacks having struggled a little bit since then. Sanchez being sort of the poster child, obviously, but a bunch of the other guys have Cody Kessler, and others have knocked around the league.
But as a guy who went to Cal and who went to I don't know how many games where I had to suffer from some USC quarterback crushing us, right?
Right, the slings, the arrows, yes.
He was one of them, and
yes.
Again, that's what. So when I'm talking from the perspective of a Golden Bear,
right,
who saw Sanchez and then Sam Darnold, and I think to me Sam Darnold is the last great USC quarterback who, in that case, owed his success to T. Martin, the coordinator there.
There's some pretty good receivers to throw to too, but yes, I would see T. Martin played a big role.
But reason why I credit T. Martin with an italics is because T had a unique way of using line splits that made USC running game hard to stop and really opened up their short passing game. Because remember, Sam Darnold wasn't known for deep passing; he was known for that annoying, I thought we could pick it off, roll out pass that they would throw about 8 to 12 times a game. Okay, and it was effective.
Sure.
And if it wasn't that, he'd roll out and he'd hand off and find that little crease between the guard and the tackle because of the line spacing. And that's why I thought, as a momentary aside, what Mark Davis said about T. Martin was so off the mark wrong. Just wrong. Because when he complained about the possibility of spending $20 million on T. Martin over getting, John Gruden, that was my indication that Mark had not watched enough football. I'm just saying. I'm nothing against Mark, but that was a bad call.
Sure. And his love for Gruden.
And he did it in the face
rooted in something besides just football.
And he did it in the face of the Rooney Rule. Okay, I will go out and I will say that T. Martin, had Mark Davis hired him, would have been a very good coach for the Raiders. I really believe that.
Sure,
I really do, because young, smart, and hungry, right?
Yep.
Something to prove.
Yep,
but
a lot to prove.
Mark didn't see that, and so, but what he did. Talking about T. Martin with Sam Darnold at USC is one of the excellent jobs of coaching not talked about anywhere near as much
as
it should be. And so that's why the reason why I say Sam Darnold is the last great USC quarterback is because he came in at a time where I expected USC to put up another Carson Palmer or you get the idea, right? Or another Barkley, okay. And Sam Darnold really on his face wasn't that guy. You had to scheme him to be that guy. And I'd never seen that before. I mean, not to say that there weren't schemes through the quarterbacks, but they're more traditional.
Sure.
Sam Darnold, they're more movement based. And so there was some gimmick, you want to say it, right?
And sort of the death of the I won't say death, but a certainly very deeply wounding blow to the USC quarterback tradition was losing Bryce Young, right? When Bryce Young decommitted, you could tell that the bloom was off the rose to some extent in terms of how quarterbacks saw going to USC and how USC quarterbacks were seen. So if they'd held on to Bryce Young, if they had managed to get him to keep that commitment, and of course that's one of the reasons why they ended up hiring who they hired, right? When you go say to yourself, okay, we've got to change the kind of coach we hire here. And they went and said, okay, we got it. We realize that our way of doing things isn't the way that's going to continue to work going forward. And that's what I think USC fans, kept saying. It's like, we can't keep doing this the way we've been doing it. And so, I truly believe that the direction in which they are headed now is a reaction to what you just talked about, the fact that they aren't getting that guy anymore. Or when they get the guy, don't keep him, right? Bryce Young being the primary example of that. They can't hold on to that guy. That guy's like, okay, maybe not. Oh, Alabama, yes, thank you very much.
If you take not just the USC action, but Stan Kroenke building this $5 billion palace, the Clippers getting their new stadium down there, arena down there, the LA Sports and Entertainment Commission. To me, all of this put together is this gigantic attempt to realign LA as a leader in the nation, a leader in sports, a leader in tourism, right? And I say this because it all happens. It's all happening around the same time,
right?
You know what I mean? It is an interesting little not so little development, and I think the book needs to be told about who started that and why. Maybe Casey Wasserman. I'll ask him since I'm acquainted with him. But there's something there. You know what I mean? There's something there, because if you think about the reverse of what I just said, in a number of areas, LA went down. Mm-hmm. They're getting slapped by the Bay Area. The Bay Area was basically dragging the rest of the California economy with it, right? Huh. I mean, LA was an afterthought, okay? LA had no NFL teams, right?
Right.
You just start adding it up. Now, and the movie industry is where it's here. It's down the street in Georgia. Horrors. I'm counting the days before the Academy says we're moving to Atlanta. Watch.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I mean, there's some structural things that.
Hey, they have the Grammys.
No, I know what you're saying. I think structurally, there's some things structurally in place that will probably keep the Academy from picking up and moving, especially not to the East Coast.
They had the Grammys in Vegas.
Oh, I'm aware of
that. They had the Grammys.
That's still not the East Coast. That's not the East Coast.
Yeah, man, you got to see what's going on down here. I mean,
I'm familiar with I ran a production company for 11 years. I'm familiar with what's going on. I met what's his name at a NAFIO conference in 1989.
No, man, no. We've got all right. We're a 15-minute drive from Trilith, what used to be called Pinewood Studios.
Right.
And that is now 4 times larger than it was when Avengers Endgame was made. Sister just put up $150 million to build another studio even closer to us. Tyler Perry has his studio.
Right, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey.
You've got another set of studios where Godzilla King of the Monsters was made. That's in north side of Atlanta. You've got Sonoya, where for almost 8 years, The Walking Dead was made.
Right. Atlanta obviously was shot there, and then Dave Bird's show, Dave, is shot down there. Yeah, I mean, I still keep track of the industry. I know what you're talking about.
At any one time, there are 50 or 60 projects around here, and the list is growing. And you know where they all come from? I'll tell you. I was at Comic-Con in 2016, and I ended up having lunch with this guy who the only reason we had lunch was he wanted to find out about who to contact here in the movie industry, because his special effects house was losing work in the LA basin because there wasn't much work to get. It was all moving to Georgia. So I put him in touch with my contacts for free. I don't know enough to be that dangerous, but I know enough for somebody to talk to me. And that was 2016, okay? So it's 2022. So my point is, to me, LA is fighting to maintain its supremacy. And USC getting Lincoln Riley is part of that.
Yeah, well, getting Lincoln Riley, first of all, you're hiring either the youngest or second youngest coach in the history of the college. I mean, I think he was 37 when he took the job. He's since turned 38. So it's a real change in direction, right, in many ways from what they've done in the past. Philosophically, but most importantly, energetically, right? It's a different energy than they've had around the program in the past. And they're now going to get a lot of guys that probably wouldn't have even considered USC in the last couple of years. They're going to re-solidify, I think they're a bit of a stranglehold over Southern California, but they're going to expand their footprint. And Lincoln Riley did a really good job of recruiting Southern California in his time in Oklahoma also, because you can't build a program just based on kids from Oklahoma or the westernmost part of Texas. You've got to also, expand your footprint into California, which he did a great job of in his days there. So that's part of why USC wanted him, is they knew how well he recruited Southern California.
Yep.
So he's going to get kids from Las Vegas also, which is a place that's becoming there's some football powerhouses now in Las Vegas, which wasn't true 20 years ago, right? So this is in the last 20 years. I mean, the best players in the state of Nevada 20 years ago were guys that went to Boise State. You know what I mean? They weren't going to USC. The best players 20, 25 years ago from Nevada were going to Boise State, sometimes even Big Sky schools.
Let's do this. Let's do a show on that and pick it up. Let's go backstage real quick. Folks, I got a hard stop at roughly 2 hours. It's about that.
Yep.
So subscribe to Zennie62, bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. Hey, Bill, this is the start. Get his top 300.
Well,
this is the man.
I might do an actual draft.
Stick around the backstage, Bill. That ends this broadcast.